Hi, my name is Anthony, and this is my AP1 Honda S2000. How I got into cars was through my dad. He was big into American muscle cars, so like my first actual car was a '68 Camaro that I drove to school. I think the funny thing about American cars is they don't handle very well, and that's kind of what prompted me to do my own path and get a car that actually handles a little bit better. I was really into rally racing and like rally car stuff in general, so I really wanted a car that would handle a lot better, and I think the American muscle car of like drag racing and everything was cool, but I think my style was definitely more a car that could handle. So my first car was a Mini Cooper S. Definitely having the Mini Cooper and like playing Gran Turismo a lot, I like definitely wanted to do track days, and I ended up not doing a track day in the Mini Cooper, but my second car that my friend got me into was E30. So naturally Mini at the time was being sold by BMW, I think it still is, but it led me to get an E30, and I was really into like the old rally car E30 M3s with like the SV14 motor and like the 4-cylinder. So that was kind of my natural next direction, was to get a rear-wheel drive E30. And that ended up being my first track car and my first car that I did a motor swap in. I remember just getting like some Falcon RT660s at the last minute on like, the BMW used to have these wheels called basket weaves. So I just tossed them on there. They were like painted green. And I think my first track day was at West Track, but it was a lot of fun. Like I was instantly hooked after doing my first track days. So after being into BMWs for a really long time, I moved over to Subarus. So I had like an STI, and then I met my wife, and she was really into Hondas. And so I like kind of got curious about them. And then we ended up getting an S2000 together, and we bought like an AP2. And then after I got that S2000, it was just like, oh, I definitely get it now. Like, I know it's funny because like I hate convertibles and I would never own a convertible, but after owning the S2000, like my favorite car, it's ironically a convertible. My third or fourth S2000, funny enough, is I had another '07 STI that I was planning on tracking. I had like everything done with it. I had like this cool top mount intercooler that usually where the intercooler goes on the STI is on a top mount intercooler. Well, I converted it to a front mount, and then I put the air filter on the top. So like the scoop would feed the air filter, so you get like super cold IATs. It was tight. And I was about to start tracking it, but then I remembered that Subarus have Subaru problems, and I ended up getting this car actually in a trade. And I kind of got hosed on it, but here it is. So I was finishing up the STI. I had like my race seat in it, and I was gonna do my first track event. And then I was like, man, I really want another S2000. And for me, like I go through a bunch of cars, but I ended up just like posting it up on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, hey, is anyone interested in trading? And some guy in California was all about trading, and he hit me up. He like sent me pictures. The paint like looked amazing in the photos and everything, and in his ad it said like AC blows cold and all this stuff. And so for work, I work late nights sometimes, so I had this really late change and ended up driving all the way to Blythe to trade him because he was from California. And I was like, yeah, I know, okay, it looks good. And I drove it around, and then when I got home, it didn't have any AC. The car was like in really bad condition. It was kind of beat. Like the manifold had like a bunch of cracks on it, and like it was just like poorly executed. And so like I put all this work into this STI, and then ended up getting the S2000 that just like needed a ton of work. So I traded like a finished project for a project, which kind of sucked. But for this direction for the S2000, I wanted like a track car that could get more seat time in mostly. So after building 3 of them, I kind of know what kind of parts I like and what kind of parts I don't like. So suspension wise, like I got like the de facto Öhlins, which pretty much everyone gets because they're just really great. It's got a K24 in it that, you know, I pretty much went through and replaced like everything with OEM stuff. I have the 4-piston R3 cams in it. I mean, I've just done like a ton of work to the car to just get it to a good spot where I can continuously do track days and, you know, just have a nice seat time car. I've done like a lot of exterior modifications, so it's got like pretty much the whole ASM kit, but it's a replica kit because it's a track car. I have like the Professional Awesome quick release splitter brackets. I have like custom front splitter with arrow that I did. I have like a 909 swan neck wing, you know, like a forbidden double carbon hardtop. I have, you know, Recaro seats, you know, just like the basic stuff for a track car. Nothing crazy. With the car, I pretty much have done everything myself, which is kind of cool to say. And the car was like a bunch of different colors earlier this year. I remember said that the paint was really nice. Well, when I got it from the dude, it wasn't. The rear end had like a bunch of Bondo on it, and I'm like not a body guy or a paint guy by trade. I kind of just picked up all these skills like on the side by myself, which is kind of cool, I guess. But I ended up painting the whole car in my garage. It's Moonrock metallic, I think. But after painting it, I definitely wanted to protect the paint and not get it, you know, messed up after a couple track days, because anyone that tracks their cars knows that like first track day, second track day, you're just gonna have rock trips and, you know, dents and stuff everywhere. So I took it over to Arizona Tint Co to get PPF'd, and it's got one track day under its belt already. It still looks great, so it's pretty awesome. So the plan for the car moving forward is just, you know, I have some more small modifications I want to do. So like I just sent out a K20A2 head to get ported by 4-piston. I'm probably just gonna chuck that on and then just see where it puts me. I used to have ITBs on it, but I moved it over to drive-by-wire because of, you know, drivability, and then for classing too, if I want to tone down the power, we can do it with the throttle, which is cool. So I'm just gonna throw that on there, see if I have like this weird dip in torque that I'm trying to get rid of, and hopefully it gets rid of that. But pretty much just keep tracking it, just keep doing, you know, like basic modifications, like nothing big is on the list, just more seat time.